So this is a subject that I've taught a lot over some decades as a guitar teacher, which is music theory to guitar players, for guitar players. And if you want to understand anything about harmony, a lot of music theory just in general, chord progressions, intervals, you have to understand the major scale. Why? Because everything in music is compared to or related back to the major scale. And so many of the names that we have for things in music are named after the way the major scale is constructed. So, first of all, what's a scale? Well, a scale is a series of notes within one octave. What's an octave? Well, if I start on a C note, and I'm going to do this on the first fret of the second string, so that's a C, whatever I play starting on that note and including that note up to the next higher C, which I'm going to do this just along a single string, would be 12 frets. That C and the notes that I play in between comprise my scale. So every scale has a specific construction. And the scale's construction is how far apart each of the notes are from one another. And that's really what gives that scale its sound. So every scale has a unique, distinctive sound. And in music, music theory, if you change just one thing, it's going to have a different name. So the major scale's construction, and I'm going to do this on that second string, starting on the same C I just played. We start on that note, that is also referred to as our root note. So it's like the letter name of the scale. So on a guitar, if I move up one fret, musically that is a half step. So 2 frets will be a whole step. And this is kind of how we describe how we move throughout a scale. So starting on C, I'm going to move up a whole step, another whole step, now a half step, then whole, 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 and one last half step. That takes us to our next higher C note. Now, if we number these notes, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This might help the octave make a little more sense. Octave like octagon, octopus. It's the 8th note of the scale, and it's the same pitch as our starting note, but 1 octave higher. It's a doubling of the frequency for what it's worth. But so the major scale's construction goes from the root note, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Every major scale follows that same pattern. So along a single string, which guitarists don't necessarily always play guitars along a single string. We tend to play them in what are called box patterns, in kind of like one position on the neck across the strings. It's a more kind of practical way to do it, although there is a lot of merit in studying scales along single strings. But in this case, the purpose is so that we can see and visualize the distances between these notes. So doing this, you can start on any random note on any random string and construct a major scale just by following that pattern, as long as you don't run out of room up here. So if I were to start here, this is 4th fret, 4th string, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Now that happens to be an F sharp or G flat major scale, but that's whatever note you start on will be your root. That'll be the name of that scale. This may turn into kind of a little series of videos, I guess we'll see. I am planning on doing at least one more about the major scale with regards to what notes are involved in different keys and how you end up with the sharp and flat notes that you get in different key signatures and why that is. So I hope this helps, and look for video number 2.